I still have coffee.
Yay. Well, welcome to Network with Net Worth on this Monday morning. My guest is Christina Olivares, and I want to give a little background on why this is happening today. Because originally I had met Christina through social media.
Yeah.
And I like to say she slipped into my DMs because I remember seeing this bright pink things coming through my Instagram. And I thought, first of all, that's one of my favorite colors. So it caught my eye and I clicked it. And I have to say, Christina, that one click led to me attending Hustle and Socialize, which led to me being motivated to take action. I'm gonna try not to get emotional because I'm a business owner and I'm a mom, but I've been a mom and a wife first for the first years of my careers. And I turned 50 in September, and I feel like my word of 50 has been intentional.
Ooh.
Everything I'm doing, I'm trying to be intentional, right? So when I made the investment to attend Hustle and Socialize, it was for a reason, and I got everything I needed out of it.
Oh, that's gonna make me emotional.
So out of that, I met Ritzy, which I'm in the process of working to get with her in coaching and branding.
Good.
And then I met Wendy Amata. And I have a list like TK. The women that I heard speak inspired me, right? So I'm still following up with people I met at Hustle and Socialize.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, look at that.
I know. So that led to me getting scheduled with Wendy. I did a coaching call with her. And then I did Future Self Experience, which was crazy great. And that led to action. So Monday, you got my email, right?
Yeah.
Last week. So I sent that email and I said, I'm going to do this. I want to talk to people. That motivated me because I think what you have is important and people need to know about it. So
thank you.
Welcome. And before we get started, because I have a couple questions specific to motivation, tell me about Christina Olivares.
I am let's see. I am a small business owner. I have two companies called The Social Butterfly Gal and Hustle and Socialize. But more than anything else, like I am just on a mission of really elevating and amplifying Latina entrepreneurs. I fully want to see more of us succeed, more of us use our voices, and more of us living in our purpose. And I feel that everything that I've done in the last sort of decade and everything that I'm going to continue to do moving forward is really in that alignment of my true purpose, which is helping others, feel seen and heard and really just living very authentically, because I believe that when you are very unapologetic and you are living in your full self, magic happens. And so I've lived here in San Antonio for 13 years. I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley, went to college at Texas State University, and then moved to San Antonio right after college. And I love San Antonio. This is where I vacationed as a kid. And so my dad graduated from St. Mary's University. He went to law school here. So it was like, I feel like San Antonio has always been that little kind of like city where I felt I could live in, but I never thought that this would become my home. And now I can, be here. And so I'm just a proud South Texan. I love being from the border and just having like my culture be represented everywhere I go is like something that I hold to my heart whenever I travel. And I say like, oh, I'm from San Antonio, but I'm also from the 956. And I really kind of like have those two places because that's what made me who I am today. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Oh, well, we do have something in common because I'm from the Frontera too. I'm from El Paso.
Yes.
So we're a border town. And then I came here in middle school. So I've been here since, I think it was 1987. Went to middle school and high school and UTSA, go Runners. I know. So yeah. And one of the things that I'm going back to hustle and socialize, because I go back to that moment, because I think that's real important in my growth right now and my journey is I need to embrace my Latina more. Yeah. And I have a daughter, and I have an abuelita that just passed away in November who was 101. Wow. And abuelita has some major strength. So we come from a good stock of Latinas, Yeah.
We like to say chingonas.
Yes, the corporate chingona from. So yeah, she's that's a whole nother podcast I want to do that's just on clips of video of her consejos and her advice in her words and in her language. And oh my gosh, it gives me goosebumps. So
I love that.
I'm thankful that you reminded me that I need to lean on that support. Yeah. History, that strength, and my mother and my sisters. So we have a long line of Latinas. But let's get started. So I have some questions for you, okay? Okay. I have to put my glasses on. The first one is, what does your prep, your routine look like to set the tone for the week as a business owner?
I fully believe that to start off with a good week, you need to prep at night. Mm-hmm. And so my routine for the day or the week starts Sunday night. So I take a really good hour and a half to go into my calendar and my systems and write out all of my to-dos for the week. I do have an assistant that works with me, so I feel like I have to be on top of things because I'm like, oh, if something comes up, we have to have a little flexibility. But I really like to use a tool called ClickUp, which is a project management system. And I will look at my calendar, I will look at everything I need to do, and I just start implementing, putting everything into the ClickUp and saying, this is the to-do, this is urgent, this is high, and just start setting priorities. And then I stop looking at any social media, any emails at 9 p.m. So my phone goes on Do Not Disturb from 9 p.m. all the way until 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning. So since the pandemic, I have made it a point to say for 12 full hours, I'm not going to have screen time. And I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then it stays in the charger. Like I try to not have my phone with me, but if I do have my phone with me, it still stays on Do Not Disturb because I really like to listen to affirmations when I go to sleep. So I do have like my earphones in, and I'll listen to a nice meditation to kind of get me, because I suffer from a lot of anxiety, and a lot of my anxiety happens at night, especially when you're not doing anything. And so I've been kind of recently, my therapist was telling me like, hey, you should maybe think about having a meditation at night and then maybe sleeping with something that helps you kind of get you to sleep. So my preparation really starts the night before. And then really in the morning, because I'm not on my phone at all, I do wake up early. And I know throughout seasons of life, it could change, but I wake up every morning at 5 with my husband because my husband likes to work out. Yes. So, when he wakes up, I wake up and I come to the living room and do a 15 to 20 minute Pilates routine on YouTube. Wow. Just like, let's just get this workout out of the way. And then I get myself grounded, and I'll take a shower, and then I really spend 10 minutes meditating and then 15 to 20 minutes journaling. And I like to do different journal prompts. Sometimes I like to look at my journals from years ago to see like where the growth has been. But really, I've cultivated a good morning routine because I do know that if I don't do what I do at night and I don't do the things in the morning, my day is going to be completely off.
That's right.
And so then, after that, I start getting ready and I listen to podcasts. I'll listen to business podcasts, or I'm huge listening to the New York Times, The Daily. I love listening to that. If you haven't listened to that podcast, it's incredible. They do different podcast episodes of what's going on in, today in the news, but also they'll do different stories. And I think that's just because I'm a journalist at heart. Like, I wanted to be a journalist. And so I feel like, yes, I love business podcasts, don't get me wrong, but I really love to start my day just like understanding what's going on in the world and understanding, other different stories. And then from there, it's like, all right, my day is ready to go. And I try to be at my desk no later than 8:30. So, I mean, it's kind of like a 3-hour process, right? Like from 5 to 8. And I understand, like, right now we don't have kids yet. And so I understand, like, whenever we do have kids, it might change. But I do know that, like, I'm really grounded and rooted in that routine. And so even if it does change, like, I recognize, like, with the pandemic, things change, but I still learned how to develop a routine. And so I think, like, that is what makes me feel like I can really set myself up for success, because I did everything the night before. And then I have this, like, nice little routine.
That's nice. That's really great. And that, I know when my kids were younger, I really like to get up early. I got up a lot earlier than I do now. Now I feel like they're all like young adults out of high school. So now I'm like, I need to sleep a little bit extra. But I would get up like that in the morning, and I would just sit in silence and drink my coffee and just kind of plan the day. And I tell you what, that it feels good. It does feel good to do that. And now I do, it's quiet anyway, because the kids, they come and go and they're not really morning people. I'm the only one that likes to get up and have my coffee before anybody else.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, I work out of Geekdom, a co-working space here in San Antonio. And then I work out of coffee shops. So I do like Mondays and Wednesdays at Geekdom, and Tuesdays and Thursdays at the coffee shop. And then Fridays, here it's a little bit more chill. But what I really like to do for a full hour from 8:30 to 9:30, I like to sit with my coffee. And I just like to go through the news. I love to go through social media before I start. So I really don't start work until about like 9:15, 9:30, because I really need that like extra hour to just ease into it. Like, even meetings, I don't like to meet anybody until 10 a.m. because that way I have a really good morning for myself.
That's what I do. Yeah. Someone asked me, I just hired a young man in my insurance agency, and he's a Gen Zer. He's a friend of my son's. He's so great. I really enjoy him working with me. But he says, Serena, when does your day actually start? Because I always tell him, we're not having a conversation till after 10. So I said, really, after 10? I mean, my day starts early. Yeah. 7 a.m., not 8. And I said, but I really don't start functioning with others until 10 a.m.
Agreed. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And I heard this morning, I was listening to on TikTok, a motivation. He just happened to be on a live, and I really like it. He does a lot of Jim Rohn and just kind of gets you motivated. But he said this, I wrote this down. Okay. Slay your dragons before breakfast, or they will eat your lunch.
Ooh, I love it.
Like, what? I hadn't seen it like that. And I thought of that. So I got up and I was like, yelling through the house, slay your dragons before breakfast. Get up, everyone. My husband was like, what is going on? I'm like, dude, go slay your dragons before breakfast, because I don't want them eating our lunch.
I love that. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I thought that was funny. So the next question I have is, how do you stay motivated, especially in a society that has Mondays as a bad day? And I hear so much of that. Like, I'm naturally a positive, energetic person. So I don't think Mondays are a bad day. Like, I always say happy Monday, or I'm like rise and grind. And people just kind of look at me. And when I was a teacher, one day, I'll never forget this. I was at the little Cubbies getting my morning mail. Yeah. And a teacher standing next to me turns to me and she says, is it your birthday? And I was like, no, not today. I had to think about it. I was like, no, why? And she goes, you're way too happy on Monday for it to be just a regular day. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Mondays but people really feel that it's a down stop. It's like a negative.
Right.
How do you stay motivated?
So I actually love Mondays. I feel like Mondays are my favorite day of the week because you just like start the week off like really good. I think like Wednesday and Thursday is challenging because you're like closer to Friday. But I fully believe that it's not so much motivation. It's really about staying disciplined. And so that switch kind of like really helps me be disciplined. And I do give myself a little leniency with my morning and night routine on the weekends because it is the weekends, right? We're not really kind of like doing the exact same things, but I feel like since I love Mondays so much, I just have to stay disciplined in how I do my routine. So it's like if I do my routine, and there's a lot of Sundays, like one Sunday my in-laws were actually barbecuing, and they were barbecuing at the time that I normally do my to-do list. And so it was like, oh crap, how am I going to come back? It's already going to be nighttime, you know, and I just had to stay disciplined and be like, no, if I don't do this now, then I know Mondays is going to be hard. So like, I just try to stay rooted in the discipline. And then I also feel like, I don't know, there's just this thing about Monday morning that really, it just really kind of like sparks that inspiration where it's like, this is a new week and whatever happened last week happened, we're going to start it brand new. So I feel like that's just kind of like what has helped me. But I will say like, I need that discipline when it gets to Wednesday or Thursday. It's a different story when we get like yesterday. I was like, oh, we're almost at Friday. So
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for that, because I sometimes I see on social media a lot of the posts that are, and I'm like, that's just not my vibe. I'm like you. I like Mondays. I look forward to beginning that week and hitting it hard. So before we dive back in, let me share something that's been helping so many of my listeners lately. Are you legally ready? Most business owners aren't until it's too late. I'm Serena Miranda, and I help small business owners stay protected with affordable access to a provider law firm. Whether it's contracts, collections, employee issues, or compliance questions, you don't have to go at it alone. Legal protection is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. Let's get your business legally ready. DM me, Serena Protects, or click the link in the show notes to schedule a quick legal readiness call. Now let's get back to it, because staying legally ready is one of the smartest moves you can make as a business owner. So what advice, because I notice you're very routine or type A, whatever they want to call it, right? Not like myself. I'm not. I'm more of the holistic, free-spirited. So to write things down and have a journal, that is something that's not innately me. So what advice do you give to keep people, focused and as whether you're a new business owner or a change, someone that's causing change in their business like myself. So what advice do you have for them?
When I started my fitness journey of getting a little bit of movement into my life, the trainer that I watch on YouTube, she says this thing called 10 minutes is better than none. And it changed my life, because I feel like when we think about doing something new, or when we try to get on a routine, I think in our heads, we think, oh my gosh, I need to have this down packed. Like I need to do all the things. And that's not true. Like I feel if I could just get 10 minutes, and I think about this too with social media, right? If I could just get 10 minutes on the clock where I'm just sending DMs and I track it, and then that is an accomplishment. If I could just get 10 minutes in where I'm making my bed in the morning, that's an accomplishment. I also feel like the top 3 is something that I implement in my to-do list. So when we write out our to-do list, it seems like long. Like, I mean, this was yesterday's to-do list. I don't know if you can see, it's like,
yes.
But at the top of my planner, it's just like, what are today's top 3? And so I will tell you, like, I remember during the pandemic, it threw me off because all of a sudden it was like, well, you can't go to your co-working space. You can't go to your coffee shop. So what do? And I had to learn how to build a routine. And it kind of started with, all right, I can't go to a coffee shop, but I can go to the drive-through and I can go get my coffee. So that's sort of going to a coffee shop, right? And so I think like having the top 3 and like this mantra of 10 minutes is better than none. Like right before this, I kind of like gave myself a little grace this week. I got sick right after the conference, and then I was sick for like 10 days, and then I had to kind of like rebuild my immunity back up. And so I've been getting back into my routine with working out, but I told myself like right before this, I was going to get in a workout. And I was like, if I could just get 10 minutes, I actually did 15. So I was really proud of myself. But if I could just get like 10 minutes, then I'm solid. And so I always keep that in my head of like, you don't have to do all the things, like just focus on little increments that you could do.
Definitely. That's so good advice. I really like that. I wrote that down. 10 minutes is better than none, and the top 3. That's on my notes. All right. Well, we're coming up to wrapping up our Monday motivation. I'm going to get one more question in.
Okay.
How do you stay motivated in moments of uncertainty or challenges? And also keep your team, because you have a team, right? So keep your team motivated.
Lots of therapy, like really, like fully, I would not be the person that I am today without therapy. And I'm really privileged and grateful that I have access to it. I know a lot of people don't have access to it, or there's still this stigma and shame about going to therapy. Like I said this on a podcast yesterday, and I'll say it again. I was never one to shy away from therapy. I actually got into therapy when I was 19, leaving my home for college because college was just really overwhelming for me. And I knew I needed help. So I went to the student health center and I immediately got paired with a counselor, and that changed my life. But, a lot of people don't understand, like when I was going through the conference, this year was probably the biggest conference that we had in the history of the company. Wow. And it was a lot of mental, emotional, physical, like it took a lot. And I feel like people don't understand like the behind the scenes of the event. They just see like the price and they're like, oh my God. But it's like, no, I need to make sure I have the funds to pay everybody, right? Exactly. I need to make sure that this thing runs smoothly, and that, because I feel like, and my husband lost his job a year ago. So we have been navigating like what it looks like to have a sort of bare bones budget in our 2-person household, right? Mm-hmm. But also like all of the bills that we have. So I feel like this year has really stretched me and has actually, there's been so much uncertainty. And I feel like having therapy, but also learning the tools, like making those investments in coaching while it has been a lot of money, and therapy too, because sometimes insurance doesn't cover it. So it's a lot of money, but I've been able to gain tools that I can use in moments of uncertainty. And I think one thing that I've learned throughout the last 18 months, because I feel like that's when things started to like really ramp up, is that you're always going to have moments of uncertainty. You are always going, like life is always going to life. You can't change it, but what you can do is change your thoughts, your emotions, and your attitudes towards it. And right. I also feel like going to the team side, I've had to fully learn how to trust me and my intuition, because I think that like I'm a people pleaser. And there's many times where like I'll say something and I'm like, I wonder what they're thinking about. Like, do they think I'm an effective leader? Am I saying the right thing? Are they questioning my leadership? Like when I make a decision on something, it's like, am I making a right decision? Like, so I feel like I've had to really tune out people's voices. There was a point in my business journey where all I was doing was asking for other people's advice on what to do with my business. And I will tell you, that was hurting me way more. Mm-hmm. When you work with a coach, they're not meant to tell you what to do. They're a guide. You are the person, like, you know what to do. They're just there to kind of lift you up. And I feel like when I got into coaching, I learned that, like, everybody that is telling me things, we got to silence that, and we need to look inwards. And I think, like, that's what has kept me going. But I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of times where, like, I'm crying myself to sleep. There's a lot of times where I feel like, I don't know that I should be doing this, and maybe it's time to, like, plan B. But it's when I hear women like you, like what you just said in the beginning, it really reinforces, like, why I need to keep doing this. Because if I stop and I say, oh, we're done, I'm not going to do this anymore, where are y'all going to go to? I mean, I know there's other business groups, but it's like, this really solidifies, like, the work that I'm doing. And this is why I got to keep going. We just got to work on managing my nervous system.
That's amazing. Well, you're an amazing person. And I know when I became a mother, I think that's when I've always been an educator. So therapy and being around counselors has always been part of my career. And I'll never forget this one incident, my firstborn, and that's usually the hardest, right?
Yeah.
He's so outside the box. This kid's brain works not like mine did. Yeah. So you know how you have those cubbies for their toys? Mm-hmm. He would take the cubbies and dump out all the toys after I'd spent hours organizing all the little cars and the figurines. And then he would turn them upside down and create this pathway out of his room down the hallway. Oh, wow. And it would just give me anxiety. And I'd be like, something's wrong with him. Yeah. So I had a friend who was a counselor in the school with me. I'll never forget her, Nancy. I'm like, she's so awesome. And I Facebook messaged her and I said, hey, I think I need counseling. I think my son needs counseling. I think that's what I told her. And she goes, well, tell me what's going on. So I told her, and she was so beautiful. She goes, Serena, I think your son is very creative. Maybe, just maybe, it's you that has a problem with his creativity. And I was oh my gosh, I'm keeping my child from being a creative soul. It makes me want to. And that was self-reflection, right? I thought, wow, mijo, you can put all the things everywhere. After that, my parenting changed. I was more like, let's do this. Let's be creative with boxes and be creative with our ideas. And I had to check myself, right? Yeah. And so now, full circle, going to, like, Hustle and Socialize, listening to you, listening to Wendy. Now I'm doing that, but in my business, and how I come off in my as a woman business owner. Yeah. It's such an amazing motivational Monday. I hope everyone listening gets some great information from this moment. And thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your time. And any last motivation you'd like to give us? Get out there and go take your day. Do all the things. You got this. Thank you so much. You have a great week. You too.